because now I'm in this fucking position where I'm not free. I'm sick of my role in this family. I thought it was over. I thought I was investing in you so that you could come around so that I could live my own life. They're not my kids.
It's pure calculation.
You don't think maybe you're a little fucking crazy?
You can't really believe any fucking thing that they say.
I have an audio recording of you saying, I don't want to be your mother anymore. Goodbye, kids.
Yes, you do.
Because you don't know how much of it is pre-planned.
Well, I'm saying you can, like your mother, totally fail.
They play into this Grace is a victim of Ben dynamic, and all the guys around here are like, oh, I can save her.
It's so fucking stupid. I'm such a fucking loser crying about this.
That seems to be a really big narrative that they foster.
Whatever. Such a fucking loser.
Grace is most certainly not a victim, and she is just as fucking crazy clout hungry as he is.
That's it. Work for the boys.
Grace wants to probably be a stripper.
I would say as far fucking away from these people as you could possibly get.
Grace just got off a stream where this woman was screaming at her that she's the victim of abuse and she's an abuser. And you can imagine people read their own whatever hostility towards men because I'm a big guy. I'm openly sort of masculine. And so I become the epitome of whatever their issues are. But there's a kind of hysteria. I'm sure you've seen it. I know that we may have crossed paths on the Crucible, but I kept getting banned there by Andrew because he said I was supposedly an informant for the FBI against the Orthodox Church. Okay. But I think there's a hysteria about things like sexual things. It doesn't make any sense, you know. People say, "Oh, I've seen things that you have a warm relationship with your daughter." Okay, yeah, that's true. We've been through, an interesting set of circumstances here in our family, and we've gotten closer than maybe normally a father and daughter do. That's not a crime.
No. Okay, so I'm not accusing you guys of incest. I don't think that there's like incest going on. Anything that I have, heard obviously seems like a joke to me, with the exception that, the playing up of sexuality on stream, right? I guess
No, I don't think there's any playing up of sexuality on stream. I think that there's a normal, I flirt with a lot of females on stream, and I think that that's totally normal. Grace.
Sure, but I mean,
that's normal.
Sure, but again, asking like your daughter to like wear lingerie on stream and telling her to like put it up against the wall, like obviously I know that you're trying to do that to some extent for views, but at the same time it is still it's still sexualizing your daughter, is it not?
No, you know who sexualized my daughter? Her father in heaven. It's called puberty. She's a sexual person. And my point with Grace, it's an honest, sincere point. You can say I played up for views, and yeah, I mean maybe. But honestly, I think that our background is kind of like Catholic, conservative, and that's kind of on the right. And I think that I don't know your background, but I think there's this culture. It's very difficult to negotiate as a female streamer. On the one hand, yes, there are people who exploit themselves. There's OnlyFans, can be porn and exploitative, and there's a kind of e-girl sort of, I don't know, degrading culture. On the other hand, there's a kind of hysterical puritanism about female sexuality, which I do not. People say, how can you be a Catholic and have your daughter dance for men? Why can't I? I don't have her dance for men. She's an adult. Why can't she dance?
But you're encouraging it.
Sure. Is Taylor Swift's father, if he was encouraging her to look great while she performs, is he abusing her?
It's not even about looking great, though, right? And I don't think I've used the word abusive towards you, but I do think. So I'm not going to jump to extremes like other people. I'm sure you've talked to other streamers who do jump to extremes, but there's a difference between like, keep yourself healthy, look great, make sure you're looking sharp, versus Grace, go put on some lingerie, Grace, go dance for dance for the viewers,
Oh.
you know, put some music on, dance for that, especially in the direction to a man who his name is Hormaxer, right?
Yeah, he's a great guy. I encourage you. He's actually a great guy. Yeah, he talks a little dirty. This is my point. In our family dynamic, Grace's mother was unable to, you know, sort of, I don't know your family dynamic, but a mother usually sort of initiates the daughter into, you know, wearing a bra, having the monthly cycles, all that sort of stuff. That didn't really occur because Grace's mother, I think, sort of lacks maturity. I'm not saying, you know, she just didn't know how to do it because she didn't have a successful experience of that herself. So, you know, so my daughters have this thing. I think if it's left to the father, right, because their mother has basically dropped out of the picture, right? For the last 5.5 years, she's just been totally non-responsive because I called some of this stuff out. Like, what are we doing here? So I think a girl can get alienated, and you know, Grace is a natural performer. She's always been a performer. You could say that I exploit her by saying that I think she could do great performing as a career, but I don't really understand that. Do I benefit from it? Would I benefit from it? Sure. I don't think there's anything wrong with families encouraging their kids to succeed. And I think a part of that is when she first came on stream. I mean, obviously she's a very lovely young lady, but the sexual, let's say, the sexual attention that an attractive young woman will get on stream can be difficult to negotiate. Would you agree with that?
Sure, it can be difficult, but
it can be exciting, overwhelming. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I am not disagreeing with that, but you are talking about this man is 45. He talked about pimping your daughter out on you know, and no father, I think, who, or any parent really, who is following a religion like Catholicism or is following like a more conservative way of life would be okay with a man like named Hormaxer disrespecting his daughter like that.
Yeah, it's a joke. I mean, it's a bit. He's playing a certain part, and
even
we're
if
playing
it's a
into
joke.
it. No,
like,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Disrespecting her, right?
You assume that religious people are conservative, and I don't think that's.
Well, you said yourself.
True.
You said yourself that you were conservative, right?
We
you
used
know.
to come out of that kind of. I mean, that's sort of where I come out of, but that's why I say I'm moving towards the center. I don't. Do you think Pope Francis? I don't know what you know about Pope Francis. He's not really a conservative, and conservative people hate
but
him. Catholics.
He probably still wouldn't encourage a girl to dress provocatively and dance for a man or dance for viewers on stream,
you know,
right?
You know, it's kind of interesting. Pope Francis recently sort of said, like, you know, dating on Tinder, like, we shouldn't be so uptight about it. And that's an interesting thing. A lot. It is true that a lot of liaisons on Tinder are like fleeting sexual encounters, but it's where people meet these days. And so I think he was saying, like, let's not be so uptight and anti-internet dating.
Sure, but
and the
again,
Pope is in many ways liberal. He's had transgender people that
yeah,
he's
but I'm
met
not even
with
talking
and
about
called them by their
religious
pronouns.
people, like you yourself, like based on your beliefs, right? You are not just a Catholic, but you have said that you're a conservative leaning man, right?
No.
But you just did say that earlier in this stream.
I previously, I mean, that's my, like, sort of, I used to teach in a Catholic school. That's what I grew up with, but I hate it. I hate it. Yeah. And for example, there's a traditional way there's a way that right-wing people look at women. There's a way that left-wing people look at women. I think they're both crazy. On the right wing, you have this idea that I, with a daughter who's 20 years old, am like personally accountable for everything she does, and that everything she does is me telling her to do something, and if she wears whatever clothing she wants to wear, that I am telling her to do it. It's crazy. She's not a child. She's not. But
in that video, in that one stream, you were encouraging her, along with Hormaxer. You were both encouraging her to put on lingerie, to put on a tight mini skirt, right? So I'm not saying that any decision that she makes is up to you. I'm saying I am pointing at a direct example of you actually instructing her and encouraging her to do something.
And I tell you, it's a funny thing because I come from I think you're millennial, maybe.
Yeah,
Generation.
millennial. Yeah.
I'm Generation X, and when we were kids, my generation, parents didn't have to tell their kids have sex. People were having sex. These days, I honestly feel on both sides, I have to tell like young men, like it's okay to have a penis. Let's bring it over to a vagina. It's gonna be okay, guys. And I know it can be scary, but there's a real like sort of inability of the sexes to connect. And on like whatever, for better or worse, I'm constantly encouraging young men to interact with my daughter, and they don't want to. So I have to encourage her too. Like,
I understand,
guys,
but a 45-year-old man with a history of being in and out of jail, right? Like he has a history of being. I'm pretty sure, like Hormaxer, right? I don't know. He's been in and out, right? You don't know who these people are in the chat who are making passes at Grace. You don't know who you are exposing her to.
Well,
so yes,
we've gotten to know him.
Sure, maybe you've gotten to know him, but still you don't know who she's exposing herself to in the chat, right? If there could be a crazy stalker in the chat.
There could be a crazy stalker in your chat.
There could be, but again, I'm not encouraging any woman to like expose herself on my stream, right? I'm not encouraging her to expose herself.
What are you talking about?
I'm not encouraging any woman to form a unhealthy, like parasocial, like pseudo relationship with any of these male viewers, right?
Well, aren't you doing that?
I'm not. No, I
you don't have parasocial relationships with your viewers? Yes,
I do have parasocial relationships, but I will tell you, I dress more conservative than all of the conservative female streamers. I cut off any type of flirting or anything like that. I don't respond to it. This is just the type of person that I am.
Yeah, right. And so what? You can do that. I'm not criticizing you.
Sure,
Does
but
everyone have to do that? Can a young female flirt?
There is a huge difference between allowing and encouraging your daughter to go out and flirt and
I mean, you lack
relationships.
No offense, but you sort of lack charisma. You sort of lack energy.
Sure. But again, I'm the one here with the viewers, right? So you are. We're talking. Yeah. we're talking about. There's a difference between you encouraging your daughter to go out and express herself and embrace her femininity versus her playing up her sexuality, putting on lingerie and dancing for a stream full of strangers that she doesn't know.
Yeah, there's a difference. I don't know what to tell you. Do you think, like, you're a young woman, I'm not trying to cross any lines, but do you think that your body is something that you should be ashamed of?
No.
Okay, so and I understand people have different comfort levels. I don't have any problem with someone saying, like, I'm a female streamer and I just want to be, let's say, into politics or intellectual. No problem. But if someone wants to perform and dance, do you think that that's immoral?
It's not, but it should be at her own discovery, not from her dad and a 45-year-old man who is making sexual passes at her, encouraging her to wear lingerie and encouraging her to dance before a stream.
Well, why can't a parent encourage their children to do things more effectively, and then they can take
a parent encouraging a daughter to dress provocatively and dance before a group of strangers who might have bad interests for her?
What does that mean, bad interests? Are you saying that men would be sexually attracted to a sexually attractive young woman? That's like how it's supposed to work.
It's supposed to work 100%. Yes.
She's not, if she was married, I would say, that's inappropriate.
You're not understanding.
Not married.
You're not understanding.
She's not a child.
You're
not understanding.
I don't have an issue with her embracing her femininity and with her discovering who she is as a woman. I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is why, as a father who is supposed to be protective of her, are you encouraging her along with
I think the father has a dual role.
With a 45-year-old man who's making sexual passes at her? Why are you encouraging her to dance and wear provocative clothing in front of a group of strangers who you don't know anything about them? They watch Hormaxer's content frequently. They can't be the best people.
Why can't they be?
I mean,
well, I don't know what the answer is.
I mean, look,
she's free to do whatever she wants to do. But are you telling me that if I was to encourage, let's say my son, one of my sons, like he's an artist, one of my sons is an artist, I've encouraged him to do art shows and try to work art galleries, and show his stuff. What's the problem?
If you,
I don't understand why
if
that's
you
the problem.
had your son on your stream
and make money.
If you had your son on your stream and you encouraged him to take his shirt off and to dress provocatively and dance before a stream full of people, I would have just as much of a problem with that as well.
Okay, so if my son was Justin Bieber, it's like, I don't understand it. I just don't understand. Those kids can use adults. Right? I understand if you're talking about little kids, but adults are free to negotiate that space as they see fit.
Yeah,
now,
but
when
you're
Grace first came
belittling her.
hold on a second. Why is it belittling?
You were
someone
belittling
to say
you
that
in
they're
that
attractive?
stream.
I've taken my shirt off on
Okay,
stream.
no. See that's not. I'm not.
Is that
not
belittling?
saying. I'm not saying you're belittling her because of you acknowledging her attractiveness. What I'm saying is that in that stream where you and Hormaxer were encouraging her to wear lingerie and dance, you started belittling her, saying, "Oh, she's smiling now, but she's going to have a problem with this once stream ends." As if that's unreasonable for her. Why is it unreasonable for her to have a problem with the way that you and Hormaxer are encouraging her to behave?
Well, I think there's a problem with females, especially kind of, let's say she was raised to sort of hate sexuality. And I think she sort of internalized that, and I want her to relax about it. And she's an adult and she can choose not to, but I mean, it's part of the game of life, right? Women have a certain sexual power, especially young, attractive women. And I think that they should, feel free to exercise that power or not as they see fit. But I don't think there's anything wrong. When we first came on the internet, she was just my tech helper. And then I asked her if she wanted to co-host with me. And I said openly, because I was doing religious stuff like the Crucible. And it's like, that's a space that's like 95% male. And I said, if you co-host with me, it'll definitely, bring male viewers in. And, people said that. And I said, yeah, right. What's the problem with that? It'll help me succeed. And it'll, give you some chance to be. Is there something wrong with that? Is that exploitative?
I'm talking about a very specific example here, right? I'm talking about a very specific example in which you and 45-year-old Hormaxer, who's making sexual passes at your daughter, are encouraging her to dress provocatively and to dance before a group of strangers. And she is not making that choice of her own. She's doing that because you requested it and because Hormaxer requested it, and because she wants your approval.
Okay, so you don't think adult women have the ability to make decisions?
Of course they do, but you're berating her even in that, saying like, oh, she's going to have a problem with this when stream ends. As if her having an opposite opinion of you in that situation is a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I have suggested to her.
Is essentially pressuring her.
Sure, I think parents can put pressure on.
Pressuring her to be sexual in front of strangers.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, are you really Catholic? Because I'm pretty sure from Catholicism, the teachings of Catholicism, you're supposed to avoid provocative clothing and avoid flirting, right? And you're encouraging her to do those things.
Yeah, no, I encourage flirting. Flirting? You think flirting is discouraged by the Catholic Church? Why? I would not encourage her to do that if she was married, but she's not married and she's not a child. I don't understand what your problem is. I think you're just wound up. And I think so many people online are so wound up about sex. I think that sexuality, I don't know if you disagree. Do you think the Catholic Church thinks that sex is a evil thing? Probably you do think that.
No, between a married couple, it's not an evil thing, right? Between a committed married couple.
Stardust? How do they get married?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, but again, provocative clothing is something that Catholics are against. Essentially, like, even
what's provocative? A skirt? What's
It's not
provocative?
it's quite literally she was wearing lingerie. It showed her skin.
Actually, it wasn't lingerie per se, but okay, fine. Yeah.
It
so
showed
it's
her
a
skin.
low-cut
Yeah, it
shirt?
showed her breasts. It showed her skin. How are you
Okay.
Catholic?
Okay.
You're grifting.
Okay, so is it wrong for a woman to wear clothes which in some way show that she has breasts?
No,
Is that
but
wrong?
again, based on your view, right? You are a Catholic.
Are you a Muslim or something?
I'm not a
I don't
Muslim,
know.
but I come from a you know, more a background. But I'm not. I'm talking about from your personal view. That from your personal view, you are a Catholic,
Lock me
right?
up again.
You are a moderate Catholic. If you believe in Catholicism, there is a dress code to it. The saints have
not.
spoken about it. And you know that you are grifting. You're essentially grifting.
Okay, so all right, so let me ask you a question. If Grace goes to the beach, which I think is, would you say that on your understanding it's okay for Catholics to go to the beach? Do you think?
Yeah,
that would
of
be
course,
okay?
but I'm going off of
Okay, and then
your
wait a minute.
worldview.
Hold on a minute.
I'm not. Don't do my worldview. I'm doing your worldview. You are
Okay,
Catholic.
I asked
are
you what
moderate.
you think. Since you apparently have made yourself the Pope, because you understand Catholicism better than me, even though I've studied Catholicism and I'm a master of theology from
Okay.
a pontifical university. Okay, so,
Okay.
but you know better than me, right? So I'm asking you the question, since you're the Pope, I would like for you, the Pope, to tell me whether it's morally acceptable for young people to go to the beach. And
Yeah,
my
it's
follow-up
morally
question
acceptable.
is it okay for them to wear what would be a normal piece of swimwear, or are they supposed to wear some kind of gigantic burqa type thing because they're Catholic? Answer the fucking question.
Yeah, I think I don't know the Catholic perspective, but I would
Yeah,
I
I
would
do.
think I would think that probably you know, wearing like normal beach attire is fine, right? But she was
Yeah.
not wearing normal beach attire. She was wearing literally lingerie. It was see-through. You could see her skin through that.
Okay, I don't know. Are you a lesbian or something? What is the problem? People have skin. You want to see my skin? I'll show you my skin. It's not
I
that
would
big of
rather
a deal.
not. Thank
I'm
you,
not
though.
sure what your problem is. People have skin. People wear what
Did
you
you
consider
not-
provocative outfits. I don't know. Did your mother ever tell you that like life is fun, sexuality is fun?
Did
Maybe
you
come
not
from a
see an
wound-up
issue? Do you
Hindu
not see a
background or
contradiction
something.
here? Do you not see a contradiction in what you were claiming to believe in, and what you know what you
I
were
get
claim-
it, Stardust. You're just going to say the same fucking thing a million times. Listen, I believe that the human body is a beautiful thing. I understand that there is a temptation for females to degrade themselves. I do not encourage
Why are
Grace
you
in any way to
encouraging?
degrade
Why
herself.
you were encouraging her to degrade herself?
According
When
to
even-
you,
Yes.
what do I fucking care what you think?
When Whoremaster
You're a
is saying,
wound-up Hindu or something. I don't
I'm
get
not
it.
a Hindu. I'm an atheist, believe it or not. But when
Well, you were
Whoremaster-
raised obviously in a very hyper-traditional culture.
when
that
Whoremaster,
those cultures have problems.
when Whoremaster,
You know how
was taught-
women were treated in Hindu culture? Do you understand? like
I
the way
am
women
aware,
are looked at
I
in
am
Hindu
aware. I am a
culture?
feminist.
It's not
I'm a
totally
feminist.
healthy.
Yeah, I'm a
I am
feminist.
too.
Okay,
So why do you keep telling women they can't wear
I
normal
have no
clothing?
problem when a woman chooses of her own volition to make that choice. But what you are talking about is Whoremaster. In the same stream, Whoremaster is making a joke about pimping your daughter out on
Yeah,
the
it's a
Boulder
joke,
Highway.
right.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's a joke. What part? What? At what
Why
point
doesn't
is
it
a
matter
joke?
if it's a joke? Why can't
Because the
adults
joke,
joke
a
around
joke can still
about
be
sexuality?
degrading.
What
A
is your
joke can still
fucking
be degrading to
problem?
your daughter.
Well, I don't know if I say to my kids, "Will you quit jerking off and come down?" My sons, "Will you quit jerking off and come down here and whatever fix this thing?" Is that degrading to them? It's the normal way.
Are you
in which
telling
young
your
people
sons
talk.
to are you okay with another adult telling your sons that they are going to pimp them out on a highway and then
Yeah.
telling them to dance before a bunch of strangers online?
I went to the bowling alley with my sons. They're a little wound up, because we've been through a lot. And I told them, I saw some girls who were scantily clad, whatever. They're looking. No, I don't think a lot of women go bowling because they love bowling. I said, go talk to them. Yes, I'll say yeah, guys, go get
Go
some
talk.
pussy.
That's fine.
Now, do I want them to have premarital sex or any of that stuff? No, but I'm just saying, guys, standing over here in the corner. I don't know. It's like, you know what I mean?
Again, there's a massive difference between encouraging your sons to go and approach some women they may be interested in and start a conversation with them versus encouraging your daughter to change her outfit to something provocative and dance before a 45-year-old man who has a history of being creepy online and dancing provocatively for an audience that she doesn't know. There's a huge difference there.
Well, I don't care what
you want your
I don't
children.
know what. Are you my fucking mother? Because you suck.
Want your look.
That's why you're
know,
not really making it here online. You suck.
I get it.
You're boring, and you're a scolding fucking mother. Why don't you relax?
I'm the one with
try
the
to have a
viewers,
sense
but I'm
of
the one
humor.
who sucks.
Have some fun. Lean into the jokes. No one's getting hurt here, Stardust.
I'm totally fine with
talking
edgy
about?
jokes. I'm totally fine with that. But I think that there is like there is a line, right? And one of those things is, again, with
I
your
agree.
sons,
There's a line.
Your sons, you are encouraging them to engage in a healthy way with the opposite sex, right? What you were encouraging from Grace, yes, what you were encouraging from Grace in that stream was not something that I saw that was a healthy way of engaging with the opposite sex.
Why isn't it healthy? Just because you don't think it's healthy?
Because
what's wrong with a woman exploring?
She's
an adult
okay with
woman
a man.
Exploring.
She's okay with a man degrading her and joking that he's going to pimp her out. She's okay with
a joke is not
with
degrading.
a man telling her what to wear and then her putting it on, and then she's okay with you belittling her if she has any problems with that stream later on.
Yeah.
You said, "Oh, you're making fun of her." You said she's gonna have a problem with this later on, as if it was a bad thing.
Stardust, I would encourage you to be more attractive if you want to succeed online. If I was your father, if I was your uncle, whatever, I would say, if you wanted, I could help you to do that. You're a lovely young lady. I think that's part of it. But if you want to be this old little, sort of mother figure, grandmother figure, whatever the hell it is you're doing, you can do that too. It just sucks. You're not gonna blow up, and it's gonna be boring. I would have a little
This
more
guy's
fun.
wins worst father award.
If you want to be this person, that's fine. But I don't know why you're judging me, because I'm saying,
I just think it's
consider
hypocritical.
having some more fun.
I think it's hypocritical. I don't think you're encouraging her to have fun in a healthy way. I think there are healthy ways for her to engage with her sexuality and engage with.
You're uptight. I get it. You're
no,
uptight.
I'm not. I'm pretty progressive. I think that there's a healthy way for her to.
Progressives suck too. On the left, the problem is that women are treated as like non-people because they're seen as victims, and you have to be careful, and there's all this consent and all this like anti-masculinity. It sucks. Yeah.
So
there's a healthy middle ground.
Where do you draw the line at being attractive for a woman online to gain viewership? Where do you draw the line? Should she, what exactly would you say?
It's a combination of whatever the person feels comfortable with and whatever, kind of works. I don't understand. Do you think Taylor Swift should wear a burqa or whatever the Hindu thing of that is?
But I don't think that you should be shaming your daughter.
Attractive?
I don't think you should be shaming your daughter if she decides to feel a different way off stream about the way that she is dressing on that stream.
Well, maybe she's a little uptight, and maybe you're a little uptight. What's the problem with me suggesting that?
That's not being uptight. That's her exercising her own agency, and you're discouraging her from exercising her own agency.
So an adult father can't suggest something to his adult daughter? Why not?
Where is the line? When does it become inappropriate?
I don't know. If she brought a guy and said, like, we're dating, and I talked with him and I said, I've got some concerns here, is that appropriate or inappropriate or what?
Well, my question is, at what point, when you're a father and you're encouraging your daughter to do stuff on stream, at what line do things become inappropriate?
I don't think that women should objectify themselves sexually. Yeah, I know. I think there's a problem. We've all known, like, the backseat Betty who misappropriates the sexual power and sort of, it doesn't handle it properly. I think you should always be a dignified person. But I'm sorry, Stardust, it's okay to be a female. Do you know what?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay to be sexual. We're all sexual.
Would you encourage your daughter to do a topless stream?
I've done a topless stream in a bathtub. If she did a hot tub stream, yeah, I do think there's a line.
Okay,
And,
so would you,
know,
or yes or no, would you encourage her to do topless stream?
I mean, if the bubbles covered her like that, she could do that or not. You know, I'm a little hesitant with that stuff personally. But if she wanted to do that, Stardust, if she wanted to go have sex with guys, right, and meet them at bars and have sex with them, I'm not really going to tell her she can't do that. I would just say, be careful. But
Right,
if she also never went out to meet guys, I would encourage her, like, get out there. It's okay. Don't be too uptight. Don't you
That's
understand?
fine.
There's a balance between being too uptight and being too loose.
I understand
It's mostly
that.
her thing, but I can encourage her if it goes one way or the other. She's done dances where I'm like, yeah, that's
But
a
you
little
want her
kind
to
of
be
hookerish.
dignified, right? You want her to be dignified.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah,
dignified
but your idea
about
of dignified is
what is dignified
idea.
about her licking panties for a 45-year-old man? What is dignified about that?
Well, I wasn't part of that. So you can ask
I mean,
her.
you
what's
didn't
dignified
discourage
about
it, right?
I think it's okay for
You didn't tell him or say, "Hey man, that's not, you know, I don't like you talking that way."
Well, Stardust, you know, it's weird because that was her 100%. I had nothing to do with that. And you know, why can't an adult female explore her sexuality? I get that the clips or whatever will come out. She sent a DM to a guy with a kind of ass shot, right? But she was wearing panties. I had no idea about it, but he dropped it on her as kind of like revenge porn. Should I police that? It's up to her. Young people do that. It's not
in
my
this
culture.
stream, in the same stream, you were going along with Hormaxer and encouraging her to dance before the stream and wear
But I was
provocative
actually-
clothing.
Can I
right?
explain? Oh my God. You are so uptight. I've never met anyone so uptight in my life.
But when
Good Lord.
wait, when she is encouraged
It's
to
like-
lick panties, you don't step in.
I don't police everything my daughter does. I don't
mean,
know.
you
I
were
was probably
pretty
in another
vocal
room
about
at the time.
You were pretty vocal about not wanting her to change her mind or not wanting her to feel bad about this, you know, after stream, right?
Stardust, do you know what the first commandment in the Bible is?
What is that?
Before any of the 10 commandments, the Lord says, be fruitful and multiply. Now, I'm not sure if you understand what that implies.
Mm-hmm.
It implies that the Lord is basically happy with the gift of sexuality and wants people to make lots of more people. That's what I want people to realize is part of the joy of life. It's not the entirety, but it's a big
But
part.
what are the bounds
And I
of
think
that?
we've all become so fucking crazed about like pedophilia and what else is it? Inappropriate touching. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Did your parents fondle you as a child? That's a proper word. Did they fondle and
No, my
caress you as
parents
a child?
were very appropriate with me.
But so they weren't if they didn't fondle and caress you as a child. I'm talking about as a baby. There are people who have told me that it's inappropriate for a woman to enjoy breastfeeding her children. That's fucking nuts. That's why there's so many autistic people out there, because they haven't had this connection. It's something called bonding. Are you even aware of
Is
that?
Grace financially dependent on you?
She's actually running the show here.
Okay, but is she financially dependent on the show that you guys do together then?
I'm financially dependent on her.
Okay.
I work for her. It's called Torp Corp. And anyone out there who wants to help us is welcome to. So I don't really understand.
Okay.
She's got $80,000 in the bank. She can
If you
take off.
guys-
She's free. I don't understand.
Right.
Why does everyone want to? You say you're a feminist. You think women are like animals.
I don't.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
not
that
a feminist at all.
I think that you encouraging I think that you encouraging her when she's looking to you for approval as a father and encouraging her to dance that way.
Oh,
and
you just
dress
say the
that
same
way.
thing over
And
and over
then-
and over
wait,
again.
but
What if
you're not getting it.
What if
You're
I
not getting
encourage
it.
you? What if I encourage you? Okay, so I'm not getting it because I don't agree with you.
No,
Couldn't
that's not it.
I just say like
I'm trying. You
we
keep
differ on
pivoting to
this?
different topics. You keep pivoting to different topics that
I
have
could
no
suggest
relation.
ways in which you could be more effective
And that
aesthetically, if you
that
wanted
wouldn't
to.
be
Does
near-
that make
that-
you a victim? Does that make you?
No, I
like
wouldn't
some sort of
care
a-
because you're not my father, right? Like I wouldn't care.
So
But
fathers can't be involved in their children's careers?
I mean, if you want your child, you made the point about wanting her to have a like healthy sexuality and embrace her sexuality and embrace her
Yeah.
body, right?
And she was
First, you made that
uptight.
point.
She's uptight.
100%. Okay, you made that point, but you're not encouraging it in a safe and healthy way. What is safe about this stranger
What
on the
is
internet?
unsafe about it? What's unsafe
A
about it?
stranger on the internet?
I'm a
who's
stranger on the
known-
internet. You're a stranger on the internet. Glitterbell is a stranger on the internet. Itanki Nogue is a stranger on the internet. Well, what the fuck are you talking about? There have been attractive women in media since media began. It was Audrey Hepburn's father, a monster if he said, I love what you're doing. Is Marilyn Monroe's father a monster if he encouraged her in her career? What the fuck is going on
It's
here?
just it's a contradiction
There were
of what you
strangers who watched these women on the big screen, and some of them, yes, Stardust, some
that
of
is
them
not-
jerked off
you are
and had pinup pictures.
You are
What
claiming
the fuck is
one
the problem
in
with that?
in one sense you were in one way you were saying, oh, this is about her sexuality and embracing her body, and then in the other end you're saying, no, it's not about that. It's about her putting on a show. So which one is it?
She's having a young man named Darius who streams on Twitch. I think are you a Twitch streamer? No.
Yeah, I do YouTube and Twitch.
Okay, so you might know him, Darius IRL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's suggested that he comes here for a couple of days and they have an e-wedding in our backyard. And he's a very, like, sort of sexual person. I think he's a nice guy. I'll have him here, and I would have other people here. And I'm not going to pay attention to everything they do after hours if they're drinking. They're adults, but she'll have to live with the consequences of it. And I trust her. Is that okay? I said, yeah, have him here. Great. Could he assault her and kill her? I guess so, but I mean, I've met him. I think he's a nice kid. He's going to be streaming.
You're shifting the top again. You're shifting the topic again.
You
No,
want to
it's
sit here and go
not.
this one incident? Okay, fine. I've told you there's nothing wrong with it. I encouraged her. Do you think that a female can be sexually uptight? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, it's 100% possible. Yes.
Okay. Can a parent, ideally a mother, but in this case the mother's gonzo, right? So can, let's say, a mother say, listen, honey, I think you're being too uptight, and you should get more out there and wear something. I've obviously, ideally, it's going to be the mother figure who says, like, you know what, don't be too uptight. You know, it's beautiful to become a young lady, all this stuff, right, through puberty. I had to fucking do that myself. And it's awkward, you know what I mean? I don't want to have to, like, guide my daughters through, like, menstruation and things like that. But okay, I'll try to help them. I try to be, whatever. But, like, all I'm saying is proper parenting. You said to me that you don't think it's proper parenting to fondle and have a great time physically with little kids. I don't know. Maybe you come from a different culture. I think it's totally normal.
Fondle, when you pose that question,
look it up. Look up what fondling means.
No, but when you pose that question, you pose it within the context of, like, your parent touching you or something like that. Which obviously,
right.
Yeah. Which obviously
what?
When you phrase it like that, then it sounds inappropriate. But obviously,
because
yeah,
you're crazy. You are crazy.
When you grow up, hugging your parents,
yes.
Holding your parents, totally normal. Totally normal. But that
and different families, different cultures have different. But it's really important that you fondle your kids and have a close physical intimacy with them when they're very young. Everyone knows that up until 5 minutes ago.
You know what the fondle meaning is?
The idea that a woman...
If you Google fondle, stroke or caress lovingly or erotically.
Yeah, right. So yes, stroke.
So it's completely reasonable. Completely reasonable or erotically for me to think that maybe you're talking about in an appropriate way.
Well, physical intimacy with your children is similar to sexual intimacy in the sense that both things involve touching, and everyone gets so fucking uptight about it. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So you wanted to know what my message is. My message is that I don't think Stardust, you actually have any problem with what I'm saying. And there is no other word for it. We don't need to redo the entire like English language because yes, things have dual meanings. I've said it's
Do you
totally
fondle
fine
kids?
to.
Then do you fondle your kids?
Well, my kids are not little kids anymore.
Yeah,
so
but did
no.
did you fondle your kids when they were little kids?
Yes. Did they sit on my lap? Yes, absolutely. Did they crawl into bed with me and watch TV with me on the on the weekends? Absolutely.
Will you say the specific words? Yes, when my children were small, I fondled them.
Yes, I told you that.
Specifically, that sentence.
Stardust. Yes.
Say it then.
I
Say
fondled them. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I love fondling my kids when they were little kids, caressing them, soothing them. Yes, all this stuff. When they were crying, I would hold them in my arms. And maybe everyone's angry because they didn't have that experience, but there's nothing wrong with that. I tickled them. Sure. I wiped their genitals when they changed their diapers. Yes. All of these things. It's called being a normal human being and a healthy human being. And wouldn't you admit, Stardust, that if a man opens up the diapers of his child, male or female, and has a hard time dealing with the fact that they have genitals, that there's something wrong with that person?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's totally normal. But I mean, I think this is a result of pornography and, this kind of, it's crazy. Of course, you literally wipe the lips of the vagina. It's like, everyone knows that's true. Right? I mean, you don't have any kids, I assume, but like any parent would tell you, like, yeah, right, of course. Do you like enjoy it? I never enjoyed changing diapers, but I mean, whatever. Women seem to enjoy it more. The mother of my children, she enjoyed it. She said, I love changing diapers. I love to have that little like thing. And yeah, it includes all of the body parts. It's fine. There are people who are weirdos, but it's like the rate of people who are sexually aroused by their own flesh and blood babies is extraordinarily low. You would admit that, right?
I don't know.
Maybe it's not anymore because of pornography. Maybe people see a baby's genitals and are sexually excited. I have no idea. It's like it wouldn't occur to me in how that could be in a million years. But maybe you suspect me of that. But I'll say it till the day I die.
That you enjoy fondling your kids. Okay, but again, there's
absolutely.
like an erotic that
maybe for you, maybe you're a real weirdo.
there's a
maybe you watch like baby porn or something.
Dude,
you're a sicko, Stardust.
Google the word fondle. Google the word fondle.
It has two meanings. So does the word flirt. Do you think that sometimes, let's say, a nurse in a hospital flirts with an older man who's lonely, whose wife has died, who's dying of cancer? Do you think that a female nurse might flirt with that man? Yeah, it's flirting. Look up flirting. It can have a sexual connotation, or it can be sort of playing at that. Is it morally wrong for her to do that? Maybe in your world it is. To me, that's one of the great joys in life, flirting with people, having fun. I've also said I enjoy masculine intimacy with other men. Like I used to play football, and I say I enjoy tackling other men and being tackled by them. And someone said to me, "Oh, so you're rubbing your penis against their asshole or something like that?" I was like, "No." But it's crazy if you think that that's oh, no homo. I can't play football because I'm going to touch another man. You are going to touch another man. Do you think that that's something to be worried about? That you're going to be like that football and baseball and hockey and all these games are like homo erotic, like havens.
I probably wouldn't call them fondling.
I didn't call them fondling. You know what, Stardust? You're a fucking asshole. You know that? You're a fucking asshole.
Maybe I am a
Fuck
fucking
you.
asshole.
I think you resent God and you resent his creation. I'm sorry, you're a little overweight. You're a little unattractive. You don't have a lot of energy. And you envy people who do. I'm sorry, it's not my fucking fault.
I mean,
I would try to enjoy.
Being psychotic, yeah, sure. Being psychotic is one way of having energy, sure. I hope you seek some help for your mental health
Fuck you.
problems.
Suck my dick. Bye.
Well, sorry guys. I know people wanted to call in and ask questions, but goddamn, dude. Wow. All right. Okay. I'm gonna pull in a couple of people here.
With these
let me
holes,
see.
you have to be direct. Ben, did you ever touch your kids' genitals when you weren't wiping
Hello?
them?
Yeah, is Ben still on?
No, he rage quit.
Oh yeah.
You serious?
Yeah,
He
of
quit?
course he left.
Yeah.
He left.
Yeah, he rage quit.
Oh my god, I wanted to cook this motherfucker.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry, guys.
Why did he rage quit before or after you got him to admit that he likes to fondle kids?
After.
Oh, he literally said it. He definitively said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitively admitted that he fondled.
I thought that I would just come back on. I was hoping, Ben, come back on here. I want to talk to you about how much you like to fondle kids. Come back on here, Ben.
Yeah,
come back on.
Come explain yourself, because
Come back on, Ben.
I am a parent, so I would really like to hear your fucking logic on how cleaning your kids' dirty diapers and cleaning their fucking bottoms is somehow equivalent to fondling them.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I've been trying to stay the fuck away from all this shit, but the stuff about bikinis, I know this is a weird thing to sick on, but it literally got me to the point where I've Googled, and Saint Pope John Paul II wrote extensively on the subject of modesty, and two-piece swimsuits are considered immodest in Catholicism.
Oh yeah, no, I assumed that
fucking wild.
I assumed that two-piece bathing suits were
What's your name? What's your fucking name again? Something crab guy. What the fuck is
We
your...
have spoken so many times, Andrew. Don't play this shit. I've sent you fucking Orthodox Christian memes.
Yeah. I can't remember the fucking name. It's like King of Crabs or Bucket of Crabs.
Bucket of Crabs. Bucket of Crabs.
Okay, yeah. There's something to do with fucking... Something to do with crabs.
I've just done an entire stream rating popes. I was thinking about you. We went over St. Olga. Good.
Anyway, yeah, look, of course, this is the question of modesty comes up when he's talking to progressives who they don't have any theological basis for anything, but his saints have spoken on this, and the joint saints that the Orthodox and the Catholics share have spoken on this. His popes have spoken on this. His stupid big-hatted popes have talked about this. Like, this guy, I'm telling you, grifter. But now you understand what I mean when I tell you that he purposely uses language this way so that kind of rubes will fall into this this kind of... I think that he thinks of it as verbal judo, but people see right through it. It just looks
He's
more
Mr.
bad
Girl. He's doing a Mr. Girl with the way that he twists words.
Yeah, there's no way this.
We all know what fondling means. Anybody else would look at anybody else who hears the word fondle would raise an eyebrow at that, right? But he wants to do a Mr. Girl and pretend that words don't mean what they mean to the general audience.
Something else in the actual definitive terms of fondling is.
I was only gonna roll back on here to make fun of Ben Thorp's kid fondling, and he's not here, so I'm gonna get out of here.
Thanks for joining, Andrew.
Have a nice day.
Have a good
nice day, Crab Bucket. See you later.
Like you too, buddy. Later.
His name is Beckett. Watch it.
Oh fucking hell! Look! I've stayed the fuck away from all this shit, but it's
have a fucking issue with him trying to pretend or portray himself as like this caring father who cares about his daughter's sexuality and showing her how to be open sexually and all this other fucking bullshit, and that she has her own choice. We literally just watched a stream of her crying her eyes out about not having a choice, about not being able to live her own life, about having to do things that she doesn't want to do, but she's doing them for the sake of other people. And then after that, we literally watch him on another stream with her, literally telling her, instructing her what to do. And then she does it. Not because it's her choice, obviously. She's doing it because her father is telling her to.
Well, look, it may very well be a grift and all of that, and I'm not doubting that. But it seems like a grift to me. But I just think
I feel like the father is grifting, but Grace is someone who's being exploited.
I don't know. I don't know. Before we comment on her, because I don't know enough about her as a person or her situation to say, anything. I can say that the way that he is instructing her in that one stream, to me, strikes me as wildly inappropriate. Even as somebody who is progressive and who is a feminist and encourages people to embrace their body, right? But it just seems wildly inappropriate to me. I know he, at the very least, is grifting. And
according
don't
to
know.
Ben, you're not a feminist. You hate fucking women's sexuality and women.
Well,
what up, Zonia?
Hi, Zonia.
I do want to say this because I think the grifting point's fair. I can see those comments. The only thing I'll highlight is I think back to people like MFG. And people like, yeah, this dude's clearly grifting on being a paedophile. He's just doing it for loads of attention and everything else. And I don't know, there's something about the way that Thorp acts towards his kids and around his family generally. That look, this whole thing may be a grift, but also people have said this about fucked individuals before, and it turns out they are actually really abusive. Then this is one of the things I wanted to stay the fuck away from this, but just watching you talk to him, I'm just like, this just seems like an actual abuser who is doing a victory tour.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so first off, before we get too much into this, Ben is in the chat. He says, Stardust, I apologize for that last remark. It was out of line. Okay, no problem, Ben. I will say,
keep doing the same fucking things over and over again and then apologize.
Did I finish what I was saying, Mando? Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, Mama Banana.
I guess what I was saying is, I just feel like the conversation was interesting to have, but it just felt like he kept pivoting away from my main point, which was around that one stream. And I know it sounds repetitive, but it just seemed like he wasn't really addressing what I was saying. I know people listen to me and they're like, why do you repeat so much? But it's like I'm not getting an answer for this. That's why I'm repeating it. I don't know what you guys thought, but
no, he definitely ran from actually responding or engaging with the questions or the topic that you were actually presenting to him. He refused to actually engage with it.
Well,
pivoting and talking about other shit that had absolutely nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, Sonia.
The combination of ambiguity and outrage and sensationalism really kind of provides for it really plays into their whole dynamic and marketing themselves online. Primarily, that definitely seems to be Ben's angle quite a bit. To what degree the other family members are willingly wanting to participate in this is a little difficult to tell at this point, but I can definitely tell the way that Ben comports himself and talks about things in the way that he, let's say, bundles with the definitions a bit. It's clear that he wants you to sort of speculate about him and be uncertain and jump to some certain conclusions at times, and especially the extreme ones, because it plays into the outrage bait that he seems to be laying.
I just want to say that I feel like we all kind of can agree, right, that regardless of of anything, Grace is only this way because of her father.
True.
Well, okay,
he is her father. He's the man in the situation. He's the leader. Come on.
There's definitely a reduction of boundaries, I would say, than what we would typically consider to be, normal. Most people would be more hesitant to behave that way in front of their fathers, and to do things like that are asked of them by their fathers. So this is something I was talking to Tom about, is that, she had to have been very likely raised with significantly reduced boundaries around sexualizing herself and around her father sexualizing her. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. She wouldn't just suddenly, turn become an adult, because she's only 20, right? So she's only 2 years into adulthood.
Yeah,
she wouldn't suddenly become an adult and then out of nowhere, over a short period of time, suddenly become very comfortable with sexualizing herself in front of her father and being sexualized by her.
Yeah, she's been conditioned through his behavior. Like, this is what I believe. She's been conditioned over time through his consistent patterns of behavior.
But this is something that I would like to point out, is that this is sort of the speculation that they want to see this. They want, well, at least Ben wants to see this, wants to see us hang out here on people's channels and speculating about how it was that he raised his children and how it is that he treats his daughter. And that's the important thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, so my main goal for this is not to talk and speculate about the way that he's raised his children in the past or whatever, right? My main focus was just on that one interaction, and that one interaction I find I find highly problematic. And I don't see how you can claim to hold like even conservative leaning values, or even claim to be Catholic and be okay with encouraging your daughter to behave that way in front of an audience. And it's not even like
but he knows. But again, like to Zonia's point, I think he knows. Again, it was. Listen, the bait worked because I managed to stay the fuck away from all this, and I see him talk about the Catholic stuff, and I'm just like, for fuck's sake, it's so obvious. It's so obviously. A bullshit position.
I mean, I just don't. Am I the only one that doesn't care that it's a bullshit opinion and that his daughter's obviously being fucked with here? Like that's my main goal here.
That's my issue. That's my issue. Because I am a father and I do have a daughter, so this hits me like seeing a father literally exploit his daughter and sexualize her online for his own benefit, to bring in viewers to his channel, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, and this is why I stopped talking about it. And the more we talk, the more you talk about it from that perspective, and the more you focus on like the shit with Grace, the more it's going to drive that content train, and then. You are just feeding it. I know you're concerned. I get that concern, but you are feeding it.
And this is my big question
either
for
way,
you.
because he's basically using her as content. He's exploiting her and using her as content.
Yeah, and here's my question to you. Like, let's say that your intentions are focused on the daughter and the abuse. What do you propose to do about it?
Zonia, hold on one second. Great. Stardust, Ben's pissing off in chat because he wants to jump back on.
He wants to come back in.
She just didn't notice, child.
If I have him back on, I want to like reduce the amount of people in this call, probably, and just start off again with both of us and pull people in individually, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Andrew wanted to confront him.
They shouldn't have left in the first place. Why'd you fucking rage quit?
But
you're supposed to be this masculine man who's really strong, but you're running from Stardust after insulting her.
And you might not claim to be conservative, but the way that you speak on certain topics definitely makes you conservative, buddy, regardless of whether you say it or not. So stop jumping and beating around the bush because it's really fucking annoying. Nobody is buying your absolute bullshit.
Yeah. So the big question is, like, what is the... So one of the problems that I see with this space is that everything becomes debatable, right? So everybody wants to jump onto a stream and talk about something. Oh, this person is abused. They're clearly being abused by this person. You could be totally right in that, but what is if their whole thing is feeding off of you going onto the streams and talking about it, and then touring other streams around the sensationalism and around the outrage, then what is the point of coming on here and speculating about it and talking about it? Like, well, she's clearly abused. What do you propose to do? How do you propose to get Grace out of an abusive situation?
I mean, we don't have the power to do that because she's in an abusive situation where the individual who is her abuser has the power and control, and she's if what we are assuming is correct, she's been conditioned to believe that this behavior that is being exhibited by her father, by her guardian, by her leader, is normal.
Okay, so here's the base thing. Like, as long as Grace is going on streams, as long as she's interacting with people like Darius or like Destiny, or even just fucking smaller creators, this continues. Like again, I'm happy to like come and like piss on the fucking like theological points because that's a bit of my bag, but like I don't want to fucking talk to Thorp about his daughter. It doesn't fucking matter. Like that damage has already been fucking done.
I don't.
Yeah.
And
Here's
you're
the
not
thing.
going to get anywhere.
I agree. I agree 100%. When we bring people on for this, like, I don't want to speculate on his relationship with his daughter, because I can't really do anything there, right? And I don't like, you know, what am I going to do, right? Point out something, and then you know, this person's an adult. I can't do anything. What I can do, though, what my goal is with this was to point out to him the ways in which I think he is contradicting what he says his values are. I think that's much more easily demonstrable. And I think, you know, demonstrating how those contradictions exist also can probably shed light on, you know, other parts that are undesirable in the way that he's conducting things, right? So
do you believe
well, look, I'll tell you
his
what, like,
behavior is exploitive, even if, right, it's intentional. I'm sorry, Beckett. I'm sorry. Like even if it's like intentional, right? Like if he's planning this and it's a grift.
Yeah, it's still exploitative. Yeah, of course, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
okay, well, look,
it's not really.
I'm gonna dip off because I think
Okay.
like Ben wants to come back in anyway.
Yeah.
If you want someone with the theology stuff or his points there, grab me or grab whatever his fucking name is who runs the Crucible. I can't remember what it is right now.
Very nice.
Good one.
Right.
Good one.
That guy's just as bad as Ben.
What? What are you talking about?
Guys, do you mind if I move you out?
He sat there trying to take.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
He sat there trying to take ownership of every single thing that Ben and Grace have done for the past what? How many? What was he
6
saying?
months, 8 months, or something?
He's everything that they've done is because of me, and I think it's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry if he's gonna say that kind of nonsense, then he's just as bad as they are.
No, he's talking about he's talking about their tour because he suggested early on that Grace.
But he also said that he was the one to tell them to push this sexualization of Grace.
Well, no, he told Grace directly. He said,
yeah.
He basically said, "Look, you're an e-skank. If you want
How
to
is that
get
not
male
as
attention."
bad? How is this not as bad?
I mean, the only difference is
Hold on. Wait. Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, I haven't finished yet.
Let me finish. Okay. So what he said was Grace was an e-skank. He wasn't saying anything about Ben at the time. He didn't know about the whole family dynamic with Ben and everything. So what he said was, Grace, you're clearly just an e-skank. You have no
He
clear
said
thoughts in
he
your
knew
head."
about the dynamic and to play it up, though.
And
That's what he was saying.
I don't know. Maybe he said something different when he was on with you guys. I read through his conversation.
Yeah, no. What he said on this what he said on Stardust's channel was that was all of the things that I just repeated.
Okay. So he said something completely different then. So what I had heard and what I had read.
So he's a grifter too, and he's just as bad.
I don't know. I have no idea what was said earlier. I missed when he was on. So this is the thing. What he was telling her was basically that she didn't know what she was talking about, that she was clearly a grifter, and that all she's really got is her flirting that she does when she's on stream. And if she really wanted attention, to go on to Steven's stream, Destiny's, and basically flirt with him until he puts her on, and then she'll get all the attention that she needs. So that was the original thing that he had told her. And I think after a while he had realized that the whole family had like this weird dynamic going on, and basically said and basically recognized it and called the whole family a bunch of grifters.
Yeah, and he said, and he himself also did say that, like, yeah, it's very clearly like there's a line at which this becomes like, you know, you're just clearly like sexualizing your daughter and exploiting that, right? And you know,
I think well, a lot of his view on it, like, because he and I actually talked about this. I think a lot of his view on it is sort of this sort of like sardonic and cynical. Okay, it's like, okay, you guys are a shit show. Go do your grift and have at it and enjoy it, right? And so that was effectively what it was. It's like he knows he can't do anything about it. He knows he can't change anything that they're doing. He has no power over it. And so it's like, okay, sure, go be.
All right, guys, I'm kicking you out. I'm kicking all of you out, okay? Because I have to bring Ben back in. Okay.
Good luck.
See ya.
I think I'm going in.
All right.
Hello.
Hold on 1 second. Am I on now? I don't hear anybody.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, awesome. All right. So
I apologize. I'm sorry that you were very polite, and I just
all
get
good.
frustrated. You know?
All good. I take no offense to it. So, yeah.
But we're not going to sit here and go over the same exact question, are we? Is Zonia here? I'd love to talk to Zonia.
I can see if she wants to pop in. But I mean, you know, somebody did bring up the point about the bathing suits, right? 2-piece bathing suits are, you know, written about against, right? In Catholicism. So.
Wrong. I don't know who made you the Pope, but apparently you're an expert. You think that there's a Catholic teaching about whether you can have a 2-piece bathing suit?
Let me pull in the person who said it. He was talking about how there was some. It wasn't like a Catholic teaching per se, but I think somebody like a notable figure did write about 2-piece bathing suits. And
well, okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if someone does.
Yeah, I guess what else did you want to address while you were here?
Well, I thought these people, you had all these questions. I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to bounce it around. But if you're just going to sit here and go, was it wrong for you to do this one thing at this one time? I mean, I answered your question. I'm happy to say that I very much enjoyed fondling my kids when they were little children, having them sit on my lap and have great time physically with them. I don't know what else I can say. If you find that disturbing, then you have a problem. You have a serious mental problem. Although I do understand that people just can't, you know, be honest anymore. I think there's a fair. I'd love to talk about it in terms of larger issues. Because people say, well, you're looking for clout, you're chasing clout, you're just trying to be provocative. I'm actually trying to like help people to recognize that. Don't you understand? Like, you could say you don't believe me, but I'm just trying to help people recognize that sexuality is not at its core something to be afraid of, but it's a gift. That's how I feel about it. That's how the Lord feels about it. That's how the Catholic tradition feels about it. And
yeah, sure, but again, you want that in a
sense.
No, you want that in sure, I agree with that, but you still want that in a healthy way. You want somebody to.
What am I saying that's unhealthy?
Not about the fondling part, but the part specifically the part that you don't want to talk about.
No.
With Hormax,
No.
Right?
You said the fondling thing. You said you wanted to get me to say it in a certain way. Okay, and I did say it in a certain way. There's something fucking wrong with you that you are uptight about saying that. I understand the term fondling has 2 meanings. I understand the term flirting has 2 meanings. I understand even the term sexual has a broader meaning than just penis and vagina. If you want to go into the Catechism of the Catholic Church does say that there's a sexual dimension to all of human interactions, to human relationships. And you could say that I disagree with the Catholic Church. That's fine with me. It doesn't mean that the Catholic Church is giving the green light. I mean, it's ridiculous. The Catholic Church obviously has teachings that we're all familiar with, but the fundamental teaching on sexuality is that it's a gift. And
it's a gift, but within a certain boundary, right? Within the boundaries of marriage.
Well, sexuality as a whole, I just told you, I don't know, you can look it up. Catechism of the Catholic Church teaching sexuality. There's a dimension of sexuality. Like, for example, I know that you're the Pope, but you're familiar with the fact that priests are called father generally?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know why they're called father?
Mm-mm.
Can you imagine why they're called referred to as father?
Nope.
Because so you can't. Okay, so you're completely.
Well, no, I mean, I legit don't know. So just explain it, I guess. So yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're just playing games. Okay, so
I'm not playing a game. I legitimately don't know.
Father means obviously
I don't know
it means
why
that in some sense you're a spiritual father. Spiritual father.
Okay.
You're a spiritual father, and your flock is your spirit. Now you could say, "Oh, that's bestiality. It's a flock. You're a shepherd." What the fuck is everyone talking about? It's Yes, your father. Now, does that mean, oh, Ben said that priests should fondle little children? It's crazy, right? It's crazy. There is a dimension of relationships that has a dimension of, let's call it desire, right? If my son's been gone for a while at school and he comes back, I move towards it. My emotion is one of desiring to say hello to him, to greet him, right?
Okay.
Desire can mean something and it can mean something else. We're attracted to other people. It's intrinsic to us, and not just our marital partner, right? Okay.
I'm bringing in
so you're
somebody
just
who's
disengaged on your own.
No. I don't know anything about the Catholic religion.
Okay, but I'm not talking about the Catholic religion. I'm talking generally about human relationships.
About fathers and all that. I mean, I don't really know, but I brought in a call in for you, okay? Who probably wants to ask you a few questions. So
sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Catholic tradition around sex and sexuality goes pretty far back to being pretty pro-abstinence. Let's be honest about this. I mean, like right back to sort of like the teachings of Augustine when we're talking about confessions, right? Like the idea of like, you know, because a lot of Augustine...
Chastity, it's not abstinence, it's chastity.
Well, I mean, when we're outside marriage, it's abstinence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a lot of Augustine's conversion and his feelings about shame, and right back to the teachings of original sin being sex goes back to Augustine because of his feelings of having a child out of wedlock. This is pretty established Catholic doctrine.
Well, the teachings of Saint Augustine can be seen as slightly tinged by Manichaeism and a little bit anti-sexual, right? So
a little bit. Actually, they're very anti-sexual. Like they're highly anti-sexual.
No, I can give you. Well, sometimes people read that's Luther reading into Augustine. But there was an example of Saint Augustine who was a bishop,
talking to this guy.
There was a situation where a monk and a nun had been caught, you know, sort of sexually having a relationship, something like that, a priest and a nun, something like that. And people were going crazy about it. And he said, look, relax, it happens, you know. And he was very gentle with those people. It happens. There was recently in like a Vatican scandal of a Jesuit artist who had relations with adult nuns, you know, and where he was, you know, the chaplain or something like that. And, you know, it happens. Okay, so it's not an endorsement of that sort of thing, but it's very different than something happening with children. If it's consensual, if it's that sort of stuff. It's not a good thing, but I don't.
Okay,
I'm
but
not
the way you're phrasing towards your conversations about sex and kind of sexuality within the Catholic Church. I mean, again, like you asked about the comment of about bikinis. Well, that was Saint Paul. That was Saint Pope John Paul II, who wrote extensively on the subject of modesty. And I believe his findings were: a bikini does not reveal a woman's worth as a daughter of God, does not reveal her brilliance, mind, beautiful heart, and eternal soul. It reveals only her body, and that is not clearly close enough to describing who she is, a child of God. And generally, like the teachings are around, well, you have to be practical.
He wrote about bikinis per se, like he's assessing.
He wrote about modesty and included two-piece swimwear in this. Yes, like
well, okay, but he was also a man of a different time. I mean, he was raised in a very traditional culture. But okay, yeah, I mean, you can make the argument. I've never advocated for women wearing bikinis, but I don't think.
Okay,
so you advocated for your daughter wearing lingerie on a stream.
Yeah, see, this is the thing.
Actually, not lingerie, but you can say whatever you want.
You tie in your this traditional feel that you're kind of pushing forward, and this I think is partly why people are calling it a grift. Because you'll tie in kind of like almost
you can call it whatever they fucking want to call it.
Sure, but I'm just explaining to you the reaction, because people will like see you pulling in these weird points from both the left and the right to try and it looks like fucking audience capture. That's what it looks like. It doesn't look like an honest exposition of your ideological position. It looks like you're going, well, what's going to grab the most attention? And even with this, like when you're saying things like, well, you know, you've got kind of like some sort of theological background through your education, like that looks like you're making a claim to authority which other people with theological backgrounds are going to go, well, what the fuck are you talking about? And you clearly have knowledge because you can engage in a conversation about Augustine and everything.
I have, from a pontifical university, I have a master's degree. I don't know. I'm just saying, Stardust is telling me what the Catholic religion believes. For some reason, she's become the Pope. I'm telling you, I do have some knowledge. It doesn't mean I'm right about everything.
Okay, sure. Okay, well,
I do have that. It matters, right? I mean,
look, I'm trying to observe. So the reason that I am talking to you about this, I'm trying to observe your actions through what your worldview is, and I'm not understanding it. It's not making sense to me. It's not. Right. It's just I think Beckett would say that so many times I've heard, even in these conversations, you say Catholic conservative, right? Catholicism, I don't think, Beckett, you know what the word Catholic means, right?
Sure.
It means universal. So it is not a conservative in the sense of American politics. It doesn't necessarily. There was, for example, you tell me about this. Okay, so there was a bishop who last week in Italy articulated a Catholic teaching about abortion, in which he said, he used an analogy from Roman history. I forget what he called it, but he said there was a situation in which there were, say, the Roman armies and the Etruscan armies were going to go to war, but by doing so, a third power would inevitably defeat them. They'd weaken each other. So what they did is they selected, I think, three brothers and said, this will decide the war. And they fought. And he made the analogy to abortion that instead of fighting the culture wars, we should recognize that there is a consensus position. In Italy, the consensus position is that abortion is limited, it's allowed, but it's limited to the, first trimester. But after that, it's highly restricted. And after that law was passed, I think in the late 70s, there was a movement to be much more restrictive, which would be the Catholic position. And then and that was roundly defeated. And then there was a movement to liberalize it, like we have in America. And that was roundly defeated. So what this bishop was arguing is that we no longer should be doing this on a political level. And we have to kind of make the argument not based on politics, not based on, voting power, but based on, the fact, which I absolutely agree, that abortion is murder and that it's a terrible solution and there are much better solutions. Now, you can say, and Stardust can say, well, that's not a Catholic position, but he's a bishop and he may be the next pope. I forget his name. I don't think we in America are aware of that because we tend to think religion is culture war. That I don't think the the overturning of Roe v. Wade and this patchwork we have in the United States of laws is necessarily the best thing for the fight against abortion. I don't think the idea of having this kind of swinging back and forth with the Supreme Court is necessarily a Catholic position.
But I'm not American. I'm not American. I'm not religion here isn't particularly politicized. It's very much divided.
You're in England.
From kind of I'm UK. So when we're looking at kind of that totality of what you're saying, you are largely speaking to an American audience. You are going to have kind of those responses, and when you bring in stuff, I suppose, what's a good way to put it? When you're bringing up points about the way you act or what your ideology believes, those are going to twig to particular things. Now, if your purpose is to kind of educate on kind of what theology points you want to bring up, if those are discussions you want to have, then that's an understandable thing to do, but it is against the backdrop of the current controversy that you seem to find yourself wheeling.
Yeah, I think that Catholics online should pivot away from the culture wars. They're unbelievably online Catholics.
Do you think that people are
incredibly associated with the right wing?
Do you think people are going to currently engage with you on the basis of these theological arguments outside of the current conversations you're having?
Well, you're engaging with me.
Yeah, but I'm a fucking hell of an exception to do that. Like people want to come on and find points to basically discredit you on. It's not going to be like an honest, good faith argument. Again, I'll engage you on those.
Oh, sure, there are trolls. Sure, yeah, there are maniacal trolls.
Do you think people like Andrew are trolls?
No, but I mean, I think, yeah. Well, I mean, Andrew and I have a particular history. He's been extraordinarily hostile towards me. I had a discussion with Andrew, for example, as part of a debate before he determined that I was part of an FBI plot to undermine the Orthodox Church in America, because I said that there are some Russian Orthodox, there are strains of Duginism. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that philosophy within the Russian Orthodox Church that are, concerning. And I don't think that Christianity and Duginism are really a good fit. But, we had a discussion about authority, and he was arguing that we should distrust all authority. And I was arguing, you can watch the debate. It's on my channel. It's an interesting debate. He scrubbed it from his channel, supposedly, to protect his followers from legal action, which is ridiculous. But at one point, he said to me, we got into a discussion about the limits of authority and action. And I said, because he said he would fight a police officer who was trying to control a situation if he felt that the officer was acting unjustly. And I said, no, you fight that in court. And then he said something like, if I saw a kid in a river who was clearly drowning, right? And you only had a 5% chance of saving this kid, would you? This is a very theoretical, right? In the heat of the moment, you're not going to do this. But he said, would you jump in to save that kid? And I said, probably not, because I have 6 kids. Like, maybe my instincts would go there, but I probably wouldn't jump in. That's what I consider prudent, right? You understand that that is true, right? That you do have to weigh things.
Yeah,
and
sure.
sometimes,
again, we're talking about weighing
you have
things.
to allow someone to die.
Okay,
if there's nothing you can do, if it doesn't make sense,
Guys, I don't think this conversation is going anywhere. We may have to pick this up tomorrow. It's 2 a.m. and usually I stop stream around midnight. So
way better than the conversation that I had with you. It was just one fucking point.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Over and over. It was so boring.
Yeah, because you couldn't answer your own question.
I answered your question. I said I thought it was fine. It was a joke.
It was not fine. It was not a joke. And when is the
okay? So we disagree. Can you fucking move on?
Even if it was a joke. Even if it was a joke. It is still inappropriate. It's an inappropriate joke.
You think it's inappropriate? Move on. Okay, so let's move on. Jesus
do you want your daughter to have respect for herself?
Okay, it's boring. You're right. It sucks. I was having a great time talking to Beckett. You're bored because you just want to do your Hindu grandmother thing.
Okay. Let me ask it this way then. Let me ask it again. I'll engage with you if you don't trust. I think you should. Star's fucking great. I've got obviously a lot of time for her. But okay, here's my question. You the way you phrase things and the way you have presented certain things, like we can go back to the example Star was giving with Grace dancing or whatever. Do you accept that there is a dissonance there between you having kind of a conversation about how you think Catholics should behave and kind of conservatism or values or tradition and everything else? And
I understand that, Joe. I understand that it's provocative for people because they associate Catholicism with anti-sexuality because of Jansenism. Yeah.
I'm not saying provocative. Do you accept that for the vast majority of people who are going to be see you making those statements, it looks like a grift because it looks there's a dissonance there between the traditional values around marriage and modesty and kind of because again your goal as a father within the faith should be teaching your children to be morally upstanding in the eyes of Christ, to follow church teachings. Well,
no, that is not a good summary of Catholicism. It's not to be moral and follow teachings. That's a perversion. It's to most essentially the human response to the gift of our Lord's resurrection is to take joy in life. It's not to follow rules and to have morality. You want to talk about St. Augustine. St. Augustine famously said, "Love and do as thou wilt," right? That is a quote from St. Augustine. And I understand, yes, morality is an important part, but it's not the essence of Christianity. If you think the essence of Christianity is morality, then you're out of your mind. You do not understand Christianity.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to
We'll
end
pick
this
this up
here.
another time, I think. But like,
Yeah,
fuck it, yeah.
I'm
I
going to
enjoyed
end
our
this here.
conversation.
Yeah, no, sure.
It
Maybe
Okay.
we need to get more into that. But
And
like,
this, she just wants to sit here and mommy me. I don't know what the fuck it is, and it sucks. But you know, whatever. I'll do that too. But I do want to have more substantive conversations. But I'll let you go. Sorry again for being rude.
He's not sorry. But okay. Glad that you got the stamp of. I'm glad that you got the stamp of approval, Beckett.
I
Nice.
don't want the fucking stamp of approval. I just listen. I don't want the stamp of approval. I look. Maybe. Fuck. Am I getting dragged into this now? Look, the theological points.
Look, I will fucking. Okay. Look.
Sorry. I love you.
Okay.
You're gonna end stream and shout at me now, right? Okay.
Am I gonna what?
Are you gonna end stream and shout at me now? Is that what?
No, I'm not gonna end stream and shout at you. Okay, guys, it's been great. I have not been compensated monetarily nearly enough for the amount of abuse that I've put up with tonight. So, I hate you all. Yeah. You know, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Stop doing the Hindu grandma thing. Yeah. Me holding his feet to the fire is doing the Hindu grandma thing. Really? Okay. Yeah, that's totally what it is. All right, guys. If you like it, you know, subscribe. If you don't, you know, fuck you. I'm going to raid out. Let's see. Love and do as thy will and fuck thine daughter. Or look, I don't know that there's a incestuous thing there, okay? I died laughing at his low energy attempt at calling her grandma. True. Stardust deserves way more money. This is good content. Thank you. Not gonna lie, the theologian debate was pretty boring. I don't know about that. I think
fair.
Beckett,
No, look fair. Like I'm
Beckett
not defending it as good content.
I think Beckett brings some interesting things, and that's why I pulled him in. And he knows more about Catholicism than I do. So, yeah. Stardust is our favorite Hindu grandma. Not even the right religion, by the way. Not even the right religion. Not even the right religion. It's true, Star deserves way more for this god tier content. Who else has held somebody's feet to the fire like I did tonight, okay? I'm just saying. And then he just insults me when he leaves and like a second time. As if that's going to win any favor with me. I'm not going to be nice to you. I'm not going to be nice to you if you just insult me when I've been polite to you. Pussy's going to be pussies. Pussy-ass bitch.